members from Tema had traveled to Takoradi to hold some press conference together with their Takoradi counterparts against me as the board chairman of GPHA. So I'm coming to tell through your medium that all those allegations are false and bogus and have no merit at all. The Takoradi press conference of the unions was a personal and direct attack on me, and I must admit it was very painful. It is painful because not a single one of the allegations is true. Painful because it is pretty obvious to me that some persons have either a personal score to settle against me or are using me falsely to paint the MPP government as corrupt, or both. I have called you here, ladies and gentlemen, as I said earlier, to tell you my side of the story, but also to set the records straight. I am here to tell you the truth, verifiable truth, backed by documents, against the shocking litany of lies told against me, the Ghana Ports and Harbour Authority, and by extension, the government. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, the first allegation I would like to address is one by the union that my wife has taken over ticketing for staff travel and the authority is being priced at cut-throat prices. Let me put on record that my wife's travel and tour company, Specialty Travel, first secured a contract to issue tickets for GPHA staff travel in 2005. In 2005. In fact, the NDC, after winning power, abrogated the contract in 2009. The only reason Specialty Travel lost the contract was because of me, Peter MAC-MANU. Specialty Travels went back to GPHA in March 2017, and the letter they sent to GPHA is here, to be re-engaged when I was not even a board chairman. They were contracted by GPHA months before I was sworn in as board chairman in July 2017. This is my appointment letter by the president, dated 7th June, and I was sworn in by the minister in July 2017. So Specialty got re-engaged after 2009 when I was not a board chairman. So how could this be classified as conflict of interest? How? The Specialty Travels was contracted by GPHA before I was sworn in as board chairman. I also want to put on record that when I was sworn in, I made full disclosure to the board about my wife's company dealings with the GPHA. Let me stress that they won their contract a whole 4 months before my appointment as board chair. The second allegation is that I forced GPHA to be shortchanged in a concession by asking management to accept a mere $200,000 for a 25-year concession from an LNG terminal project. Tema LNG Consortium is the entity contracted to receive and regasify liquefied natural gas, LNG, from Rosenfeld of Russia to be supplied to GNPC, Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, to feed some 25% of Ghana's electricity supply. Ladies and gentlemen, if for nothing at all, My work as board chairman, as the record will show, is making sure that the right thing is done for GPHA and the country, and not the other way around. Ladies and gentlemen, Tema LNG concession agreement. I will give you a brief on that. Electricity supply remains the lifeblood of our economy. Statistics confirm that every bout of power crisis that has confronted this country has left in its tailspin. Recognizing the need to bolster and consolidate the country's energy security, the government, through GNPC, has signed a gas sale agreement with a Russian entity to supply 1.7 million metric tons of gas annually. In order to deliver the gas to GNPC, it is required to construct an LNG import and regasification terminal in the Tema port. Principally, the project will make the extension of gas supply to Tema power generation and industrial enclave while supplementing domestic gas supply. This will offset the potential fuel supply shortfall identified in the Energy Commission's demand supply projections and avert any power supply deficits thereto within the medium to long term. It is worth emphasizing that the Tema LNG terminal project is one of the critical pieces of infrastructure to help address energy security challenges in the country. Consequently, Tema LNG Consortium approached the Ghana Ports and Harbour Authority for the procurement of a port concession. Agreements that will enable the construction and operation of the terminal within a currently underdeveloped portions of the port. Indeed, attempts to negotiate with GPHA had dragged for nearly a year. This board only directed management to expedite negotiations in light of the critical nature of the infrastructure to the country's energy security. So is it wrong for a board to direct its management to speed up a negotiation process on a critical item like this, which me and you are going to benefit? It will create jobs, it will reduce the cost of electricity, it will give us energy security. Is the board wrong in giving that direction when an application is made and it's taking over 1 year? Then the board should sit down unconcerned? No way. There's the need to speed things up in this country, whether in public or private life. The main terms of the agreement were finalized on May 16, 2018. The agreement was negotiated between a full GPHA team of over 12 people drawn from all relevant departments and the Tema LNG Consortium. It is very important to note that the GPHA does not make any capital contribution to the terminal. Tema LNG is financing the entire project by itself. Rather, after 12 years of operation, the entire marine infrastructure, comprising a newly constructed breakwater, mooring infrastructure, dredged facilities, and all associated developments, becomes the property of the Ghana Ports and Harbour Authority. In addition, the consortium is funding the refurbishment of an existing breakwater, of which the authority is ultimately the beneficiary. The total investment in the marine works is estimated at some $200 million. So far from the $200 figure, which the union press paper attributed, the authority was going to receive in excess of $5.5 million annually in the form of royalties and other fees from the consortium. So where did the union get its figure that MAC-MANU is directing them, GPHA, to pay $200,000, which they spewed out in Takrady? Where did they get that? For me, all these things I'm saying, I'm going to give you the documentary evidence. the concession between which GPHA has signed with the Tema LNG consortium. I'll provide you the document for you to know the details, whether indeed it is true that GPHA is only taking 200,000 on my orders, as they said in their press statement in Takoradi. So let me give you some highlights of the draft agreement between Tema LNG and GPHA. There will be an upfront non-refundable fee of $600,000. There's no $200,000 anywhere in the document. So if people can conjure and just spew out lies against me, then what is the ulterior motive? I think the pressmen should be asking the people who made the press conferences. Sometimes I wonder why when people come and make press conferences, you don't ask them questions. For me, I'm ready with you for questions. So get ready and just hit me with hard questions, and I'll answer them so that your mind, everybody, particularly the general public, will clear their mind about what I'm saying. Because I just can't understand why the media, the Ghana media, who is very well trusted around Africa, will sit down and let these people spew these lies and don't take them to task. So if anybody comes out to say anything and does not provide any evidence, then we will go and run it out to the public. Is that how we behave? I'm not a journalist though, but it sounds strange. I continue with the LNG. Tonnage-based royalty of $2 per ton of cargo. Estimated yearly cargo is 1.7 million tons. Hence, GPHA will receive $3.4 million annually. Port dues of 60 cents per ton, amounting to 1,200,000 annually. All published marine services and vessel handling fees grossing up to 1 million annually. Published environmental fees, all ancillary port charges, emergency standby, fire monitoring, utility services, garbage collection, security, etc., are as per published rates. 10% of published berth occupancy charges, translating to some $50,000 per annum. GPHA proposed 10% because it's not making any capital contribution to the construction of the berth. It is being financed 100% by the Tema LNG. Pipeline corridor usage is also $1 per linear meter, amounting to some $20,000 per year. Pipeline corridor usage, I've said that. GPHA will charge terminal area fees when the assets is transferred after 12 years. The terms of agreement is 17 years, even though GPHA needs the facility for the entire economic life of the regasification facility, a minimum of 25 years. Indeed, we must rather commend GPHA team that handled these negotiations. It delivers significant value to the authority compared to the previous concession agreements that we have entered into. Attempts to negotiate with GPHA, as I said earlier, had dragged on for nearly a year until last month, when the board, which I led, stepped in. Our only crime may be that we directed management to expedite negotiations in the light of the critical nature of the infrastructure to Ghana's energy security. We did not influence or take part in the technical and commercial discussions. We did not. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, due to our intervention, GPHA management went on with it and concluded one of the best deals for the country. The terms of agreement were finalized on May 16th, 2018, before the press conference were held against me in Takoradi. So they could have known the details. They could have known the details. If you are a union leader and you don't know what is going on in your industry, then you are not worth the leadership you claim to be. Because after all, we have finished with the engagement. It's all over the world. And you sit here, you don't know, and after the agreement, you go to Takoradi and spew rubbish against me. What is the rationale? The agreement was negotiated between a full Ghana Ports and Harbour Authority team, over 12 people, drawn from all relevant departments, including the director of TEMA, who is supposed to be here, and TEMA LNG Consortium, including their international lawyers. I would like to state that GPHA does not make any capital contribution to the consortium of the NLG. TEMA LNG is financing the entire project by itself. The estimated value of the concession is from 100 million to GPHA over the lifetime of the contract, not 200,000. I repeat that. The estimated value of the concession to Ghana Ports and Harbour Authority is some $100 million, not the 200,000 which the union claimed in Takoradi was what GPHA, under my direction, was receiving. The concession is for 17 years and not 25 years as they claimed in their message in Takoradi. It's for 17 and not 25. GMPC intends to use the facility for more than 25, but for the TEMA LNG Consortium, the concession is for 17 years and not 25 years. The entire marine infrastructure of the terminal will be transferred to GPHA after 12 years of operation and should be operational for at least another 13 years. So if that is what they misconstrue it to be 25 years, then I'm sorry, the union leaders got it absolutely wrong. GPHA is not contributing a peso to this. The workers should compare this to other facilities like MPS, negotiated by the previous NDC regime. The result of our directive to management to get on with the negotiation was that TEMA LNG operators will make a $600,000 upfront payment, non-refundable, to GPHA. 600,000. So where is this 200,000, 25 years that the union spewed out in Takoradi coming from? An estimated total of over 5.5 million annual payments will be made by TEMA LNG Consortium to GPHA. Yes, and not $200,000. This is the actual value of the deal negotiated by GPHA management. Our check shows that fees paid by GPHA is over and above the fees being paid for several LNG terminals across the world. The board directed the management and the management delivered. That is it. That is business. This is far from an estimated 1.7 million tons of gas to be supplied to GMPC, who in turn will give it to the energy producers so that me and you can enjoy lower tariffs of our electricity. Ladies and gentlemen, I guess that was not important to the workers to hold a press conference to thank the board led by me, Peter MAC-MANU, and management. Were the aggrieved union members in Ghana and at the ports when in June 2016 the NDC sat there for government shares in Meridian Port Services Limited, MPS, to be diluted from 30% to 15%? This is a question. Were they there? Were the union there in 2016? Because in 2016, when MPP was not in power, when MAC-MANU was not the board chairman, GPHA's shares in Meridian Port Services were diluted from 30% to 15%. The fourth allegation is that I have attempted to sell a 24 VDC Caterpillar engine starter, which goes for 9,000 from Mantrac to the authority for 30,000 Ghana cedis from my supply company. What is this? Let us interrogate it carefully. What is wrong with the union members? What is it? Because even this caterpillar matter, I don't even know what the thing is. I don't understand what the engine is. What is it? Ladies and gentlemen, this is totally bogus. Management of Temaport confirms that a 24 VDC Caterpillar engine starter was purchased on May 2, 2018 from Mantra Ghana Limited for 9,644 cedis. Mantra Ghana Limited is the local agent of Caterpillar. Since May 28, no other engine starter has been purchased from any vendor. No other engine starter has been purchased from any vendor. And the attached procurement document on the purchase from Mantra by Temaport is also here for your view. So where is MAC-MANU selling any Mantra engine to GPHA? Where is it? They also allege that I'm using my position to circumvent procurement process in order to acquire for myself a tugboat, Temamahian. Spare parts have been procured to refurbish this tugboat recently. Now let me set the record straight on this too. According to a response to a memo by the procurement manager, no spare parts have been procured to refurbish this tugboat. Indeed, refurbishment of the tugboat was not budgeted for in 2018 budget. Cummins Ghana Limited is the local agent for Cummins engines, so they can find out from them. GPHA has not added anything from Cummins Ghana Limited. The engine on the craft had a technical problem. Cummins Ghana Limited was invited to inspect and submit proposals, which they have not done as I speak. So the port marine engineer, who's in charge of this, sent a memo to Cummins Limited for the cost of the engine overhaul, which they have still not responded or replied. And are they telling me I own Cummins Ghana? Cummins is a United States company with a subsidiary in Ghana. So how does MAC-MANU own Cummins? The engine itself has not been budgeted for in 2018 GPHA budget. If anything, a request for the engine overhaul will be sent to the director of Temaport for approval and a supplementary budget submitted to the board. This has not been done, and I will give the media a copy of the memo. I also want to put it on record that GPHA board, under my leadership, has never dealt with any procurement matter for the simple reason that no procurement issues have ever been brought to the board for consideration. The board has never done any procurement issues on our agenda since I became board chairman. So where is this? He has procured for himself, he has sent contract. Nothing has come to the board on procurement issues. So how can I go out of my way to do anything like that? Let me add also that the union who went to Takrady to make the press conference, they have a representative on the board under the GPHA Act. The union is adequately represented on the board of directors. So they could easily have cross-checked from their member who is representing them on the board for the facts about these things. But they chose the mischievous way to slam MAC-MANU, and this is unacceptable. They also allege that I am putting pressure on management to a Britac Company Limited over a matter in court. Ladies and gentlemen, this is also baseless and untrue. At the board meeting of 12 May 2018 held in Takrady, reference B5BD-V366 and subject, extract from minutes of the 67 board meeting signed by the board secretary, Mr. Mills. Item 7 on the extract had this to say, and I quote, "The board considered the report of the Committee on Finance, Administration and Legal, and acting on the opinion of the General Manager Legal, decided that GPHA should pursue the appeal process." So the board has taken a decision that the appeal process should continue. So when lies the case that there's a matter in court and MAC-MANU is subverting it to pay $10 million to the Brita company. Let me give you a small brief about the Brita company. They imported some equipment when we were not even in power, when I was not board chairman. And when they were taking the equipment from the ship, discharging from the ship, it fell down and got broken. So they sued GPHA for payment. The court directed that before the matter begins, GPHA should pay 60%. When I was not in government, and when I was not the board chairman, and they paid that 60%, and then went ahead to file an appeal, which was pending before we came to power. So the owners or the directors of the company petitioned us when we came in, and I gave the petition to the board subcommittee on finance and legal to deal with it. They dealt with it and brought their recommendations to the board that we should allow the court process to continue, which we accepted. And it became a decision of the board and a memo to that effect written by the board secretary to management to act on it in that way. So where is all this rubbish? Honestly, let's be careful in this country. So the people in whose area the 60% was paid, they were left to go scot-free. And MAC-MANU, who is, oh my goodness. Finally, the union members also allege that 3 of my children are the biggest suppliers to the authority. Well, this is the Tema Port director, Mr. Ose. This is the Takoradi Port director, Captain Idrisi. This is the director general. Put them questions. If they have brought any procurement process to the board and the board has given it to MAC-MANU's children. But let me emphasize, my children are working in the banks. I think it's worthy to note. EcoBank, Stanbic, if you go there, my children are there. And they have worked over the years. Or they are telling me they will stop the banks. The banks, they close sometime 8, 10 p.m. Then they will go and bid for businesses at GPHA. I know that one of them comes to GPHA for business, for his company, the bank, to come GPHA to, as it were, put their money in the bank. That's all I know about it. I don't think they have come for any contract. That they are the biggest supplier. Hey! I have 5 children. 3 work at the bank. 1 is a student. I mean, the youngest one has a baby lass. And 1 owns a borehole drilling company. He's in borehole water well drilling company, Western Waterworks. Maybe if GPHA is drilling boreholes, then we could come and bid. So I challenge the union to name any company that deals or has contract with GPHA that belongs to any of my children. And I challenge them on this. Ladies and gentlemen, I have started here. All what I've stated here is the truth and verifiable truth. I'm providing you with the documents to verify. As to why some workers of GPHA will set out to tell those lies about me, it's a matter I do not know. I have consulted my lawyers anyway, and I reserve the right to pursue legal action against those who have made very defamatory comments against my personality.